Mr. William was the richest restaurant owner in Abuja. He had everything money could buy, but every night for 30 years, the same nightmare haunted him. A burning house, a woman's voice screaming his name, a sacrifice that saved his life but destroyed his peace. He had searched everywhere for her family, but never found them. What he didn't know was that 3 months ago, when he rescued a poor cleaner named Aduni and her 2 daughters, he had finally found what he was looking for. The woman in his dreams was Aduni's mother, and the connection between them was about to change everything. Mr. William woke up with sweat covering his forehead. His heart was beating so fast it felt like drums in his chest. He sat up quickly on his big soft bed and looked around his enormous bedroom. The silk curtains, the golden furniture, the paintings on the walls, everything was beautiful. But tonight it all felt empty. The same dream again, the same fire, the same woman's voice calling his name with such love, such desperation. "William, run, Mama Grace is coming for you." He wiped his face with his trembling hands. The voice was so clear, so real, it felt like she was standing right beside his bed. It had been 3 months since he helped Aduni. 3 months since he saw her beautiful smile as she held her 2 little girls in their new home. 3 months since he gave her the promotion, the apartment, the new life she deserved. But every single night since then, the dreams came back stronger than before. The dreams he thought he had buried forever in the deepest part of his heart. He stood up slowly and walked to his large window that overlooked the city. The sun was coming up slowly over Abuja, painting the sky in soft orange and pink colors. His big house, 5 bedrooms, 3 living rooms, a swimming pool and servants' quarters, felt completely empty. He was the only one living there. He looked at his reflection in the glass and whispered, "Why now? Why are the dreams coming back now? And why do they feel so much stronger?" Something deep inside him was stirring, something he had buried in his heart for 30 long years. But he couldn't understand why Aduni's face kept mixing with the dreams. Why did her eyes look so familiar? Why did her gentle smile remind him of someone he couldn't quite remember? Mr. William got dressed slowly, just like every morning. He put on his expensive, perfectly ironed suit. He polished his leather shoes until they shined like mirrors. He fixed his silk tie and sprayed his cologne. But today felt completely different. Today, something deep in his soul was calling him to find answers to questions he had been avoiding for 3 decades. He walked down the marble stairs of his house and stepped outside. His black SUV was waiting, clean and shining in the morning sun. But as he drove to his restaurant, his mind was far, far away. As he parked in front of the Royal Spoon, he saw Aduni through the big glass windows. She was inside, sitting at her new desk as his personal assistant. She was wearing a beautiful dress, not the old, torn cleaner's uniform anymore. She was smiling and talking to other workers. Her children were in their new private school, learning and laughing with other children. Everything was perfect. Aduni's life had changed completely. But why couldn't he stop thinking about her mother? Aduni had mentioned her mother only once, 3 months ago, when he gave her the keys to the new apartment. They were standing in the beautiful living room with soft chairs and clean walls. Aduni had looked up at the sky through the window and whispered, "Mama, if you can see me now, I hope you're proud of your daughter." That was all she said. Just one sentence, but something about the way she said it, the love in her voice, the tears in her eyes, the way she touched her heart, made his chest feel tight. It was like a key trying to unlock a door in his memory. Mr. William walked into his office and sat down in his big leather chair, but he couldn't concentrate on any work. The papers on his desk looked blurry. The phone calls seemed far away. The dreams were getting stronger every night. Every single night, he saw the same thing. A small boy with tears on his face, trapped in a burning house. Smoke everywhere. Flames climbing the walls like angry red fingers. And then a woman running toward the fire, not away from it, but toward it. Her voice calling through the smoke and flames, "I'm coming, my child. Don't be afraid. Mama Grace will save you." And then, nothing. The dream always ended there. He always woke up before seeing her face clearly, but her voice was burned into his memory forever. He picked up his phone with shaking hands and called Aduni into his office. "Good morning, sir. Aduni said with a bright, beautiful smile as she entered. She looked so happy, so peaceful. The worry lines that used to be on her face were gone. "How can I help you today?" Mr. William looked at her carefully. Really looked at her, her eyes. There was something about her dark, kind eyes that made his heart skip a beat, something that felt like home. "Aduni," he said slowly, his voice almost a whisper, "can you tell me about your mother?" Aduni's smile faded a little. She sat down quietly in the chair across from his desk. "My mother, sir. Why do you want to know about her?" I don't know exactly. I just feel like I need to know. What was she like? What was her name?" Aduni looked down at her hands. Her voice became soft and gentle, like she was talking to a sleeping baby. "Her name was Grace. Grace Okoro. She died when I was 17 years old." The moment Aduni said the name Grace, Mr. William felt something cold and sharp run down his spine. Grace. The name hit his heart like a stone thrown into still water, creating ripples that spread through his entire body. "Grace Okoro," he whispered, and somehow the name felt familiar on his tongue. How did she die?" he asked, his voice shaking like leaves in the wind. Aduni wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "There was a fire, sir. A terrible fire. A big house was burning in the rich part of town. She was working there as a maid. Everyone had run out safely, but she heard a child crying inside. A little boy. The room became very, very quiet. Mr. William's hands started shaking so much he had to hold them together. She saved the child, sir. She went back into that burning house and saved him. But the ceiling fell on her. She didn't make it out alive." Mr. William stood up so quickly that his chair fell backward with a loud crash. Aduni looked up, surprised and worried. "Sir, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." Mr. William walked to the window, but he wasn't seeing the street outside. He was seeing flames. He was hearing screams. He was feeling small hands holding him tight, carrying him to safety. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears like thunder. Grace Okoro. The fire. A child crying. A little boy. He turned around slowly. His eyes were full of tears that he had been holding back for 30 years. "Aduni," he whispered, his voice breaking like glass, "what did your mother look like?" Aduni looked confused and worried. "Sir, why are you asking me all these questions? You're scaring me." "Please, Aduni, please just tell me. It's very important." Aduni took a deep breath and closed her eyes, like she was looking at a picture in her mind. She was the most beautiful woman in the world, sir. She had kind eyes, big dark eyes that always smiled, even when she was tired from working all day. Even when we didn't have food to eat, her eyes still smiled because she loved me so much. Mr. William felt his legs getting weak. She was not very tall, but she was strong. Very, very strong. She could carry me on her back when I was sick. She could work all day and still have energy to sing me to sleep at night. Aduni's voice was getting softer, more emotional, and she had a scar on her right hand from when she was young. She got it protecting another child from a dog that was trying to bite him. She always said, "Aduni, we must protect children. They are gifts from God." Mr. William felt the world spinning around him like he was going to fall down. He walked back to his desk with shaking legs and opened the bottom drawer. With hands that couldn't stop trembling, he brought out an old brown envelope. An envelope he had kept hidden for 30 years. "Aduni," he said, his voice breaking completely, "I need to show you something. Something I've been keeping secret for 30 years. He opened the envelope very carefully and brought out an old yellow newspaper. The paper was old and fragile, but the headline was still clear. "Maid dies saving child from fire. Hero woman gives life for unknown boy." Below the headline was a picture of a woman with kind, dark eyes and a gentle smile. A woman with love shining from her face. Aduni looked at the newspaper, her mouth opened wide and she gasped. She stood up so quickly that she almost fell. That's my mother," she whispered, her voice full of shock. "But sir, how do you have this? Why do you have my mother's picture?" Mr. William sat down slowly. Tears were rolling down his face like rain. Aduni, he said, looking straight into her eyes. I was that child. I was the little boy your mother died saving. The office became completely silent. Aduni stared at him like she couldn't believe what she just heard. The air felt thick and heavy. What? What did you say? She whispered. 30 years ago, Mr. William continued, his voice shaking with emotion. I was 8 years old. My family was very rich, but they traveled around the world for business. They would leave me alone with the houseworkers for weeks, sometimes months. Aduni's hands slowly covered her mouth. Your mother, Grace, she didn't just work in our house. She took care of me like I was her own son. When my parents weren't there, she was my mother. Mr. William picked up the newspaper with trembling hands. That night, he said, looking at Grace's picture, there was an electrical fire. It started in the kitchen around midnight and spread very quickly through the house. Everyone woke up and ran outside. All the workers, the security guards, everyone. Aduni sat down slowly, tears starting to fill her eyes. But I was sleeping upstairs in my bedroom. I was so scared of the smoke and the loud noises that I hid under my bed and started crying. I was just a little boy, Aduni. I didn't know what to do. Mr. William wiped his face with his hands. Your mother had already run outside with all the other workers. She was safe, Aduni. She was completely safe. But then she heard me crying from inside the house. She looked around at all the workers and asked, Where is little William? Where is my boy? Aduni started crying quietly. The other workers told her, He must have run out already. All the children are here, but your mother knew me better than anyone. She knew I was still inside, and she knew I was scared. Mr. William stood up and walked around his desk. He knelt down beside Aduni's chair. And she said something I will never ever forget, as long as I live. What did she say, sir? Aduni whispered through her tears. She said, That child is like my own son. I carried him when he was sick. I sang to him when he cried. I cannot leave him to die alone in that fire. If he dies, I die too. Aduni started crying harder. Then she did the most incredible thing, Aduni. She ran back into that burning house. The flames were everywhere, on the walls, on the ceiling, on the stairs. The smoke was so thick you couldn't see anything, but she ran up those stairs calling my name. Mr. William's whole body was shaking now. William, where are you? It's Mama Grace. I'm coming for you, my child. She called my name over and over, coughing from the smoke, but she never stopped looking for me. Aduni put her hands on her face and cried. She found me under the bed, shaking with fear. She pulled me out and held me in her arms. I remember her voice so clearly, Aduni. She said, Don't be afraid, my precious child. Mama Grace will get you out of here. I promise you'll be safe. Mr. William knelt there, tears streaming down his face. She carried me down those burning stairs. The fire was everywhere around us. I could feel the heat on my skin. I could barely breathe from the smoke, but she held me tight and kept saying, We're almost there, William. Just hold on to Mama Grace. Aduni was crying so hard her whole body was shaking. When we reached the front door, she pushed me outside into the fresh air. I was safe. But just as she was about to come out behind me, Mr. William stopped talking. His whole body was shaking like he was reliving that terrible night. The ceiling fell down. A huge piece of wood and metal beams fell right on top of her. She was trapped, Aduni. Trapped under all that burning wood. Aduni put her hands over her face and sobbed. The firefighters came as quickly as they could, but the fire was too strong. They pulled her out, but she was gone. But do you know what her last words were? Aduni looked up at him through her tears. The paramedic told me later. As she was dying, your mother grabbed his shirt and said, Is the boy safe? Please tell me William is safe. Did I save him? Please tell me I saved my boy. Mr. William looked at Aduni with tears streaming down his face like rivers. Aduni, your mother didn't just save my life. She gave her life for mine. A woman who had her own daughter at home, her own family to worry about, chose to die so that I could live. Aduni looked up at him, her eyes red and full of tears. Sir, is this really true? This really happened? Mr. William nodded slowly. I have been looking for her family for 30 years, Aduni. 30 long years. Every single day I thought about her. Every single night I dreamed about her voice calling my name. He went back to his desk and brought out more papers from the envelope. I hired private investigators. I spent thousands of dollars searching. I went to every church, every community, every village, asking if anyone knew Grace Okoro. But all I had was this newspaper picture and her first name. I never gave up looking, Aduni. Never. Aduni stood up slowly, wiping her eyes. So when you saw me, when I saw you that night, 3 months ago, asking for leftover food, something deep in my heart felt familiar. But I couldn't understand why. Then when I followed you home and saw you with your children, Mr. William sat on the edge of his desk. It was your eyes, Aduni. You have your mother's exact eyes. The same kindness, the same love, the same strength, and the way you sacrificed for your children, going without food so they could eat. It was exactly what your mother did for me. Aduni walked closer to him. She sacrificed her life so I could live, Aduni. She made it possible for me to grow up, to go to school, to build this business, to have everything I have today. And all this time, for 30 years, her own daughter was suffering. Mr. Williams stood up and took Aduni's hands in his. Aduni, I don't believe this is a coincidence. I don't believe it's an accident that you came to work here, that I noticed you, that I followed you home. I believe your mother, somehow from heaven, led me to you. Aduni looked into his eyes, tears still flowing. Sir, my mother always told me something when I was little. She said, Aduni, love never dies. Love is stronger than death. Good people always find each other, even if it takes many years, even if they have to look across the whole world. Mr. Williams smiled through his tears. She was right, Aduni. She was absolutely right. Aduni hugged him tightly. For a long moment, they both cried quietly, thinking about the amazing woman who had brought them together across 30 years. Sir, Aduni said softly, I want to take you somewhere very special. That afternoon, Aduni led Mr. William to a small, quiet cemetery on the outskirts of Abuja. They walked slowly between the old graves, past flowers and photographs of people who had died long ago. Finally, Aduni stopped in front of a simple grey headstone. It was small and plain, but the words on it were beautiful. Grace Okoro. Beloved mother. She lived for others, she died for others. Her love never ends. Mr. William knelt down beside the grave and placed his hand on the cold stone. Grace, he whispered, I finally found them. I found your daughter and your beautiful grandchildren. I'm so sorry it took me 30 years. I'm so sorry I couldn't find them sooner. Aduni knelt beside him. Mama, she said, talking to the grave like her mother could hear her, this is William. This is the little boy you saved. Look how he grew up, Mama. He became a good man. He became successful. And he found us, just like you always said he would. They stayed there for a very long time, both quiet, both thinking about the incredible woman who had connected their lives. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in beautiful colors, Mr. William turned to Aduni. Aduni, I want to do much more than just help you. I want to honor your mother's memory in a way that will help thousands of people. What do you mean, sir? Mr. William smiled, and for the first time in 30 years, his smile was completely peaceful. Tomorrow, we're going to start the Grace Okoro Foundation. We'll help single mothers like you used to be. We'll help struggling families. We'll give scholarships to children who need education. We'll make sure your mother's sacrifice creates a legacy that helps people for generations to come. Aduni's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of pure joy. And Aduni, Mr. William continued, I want you to be the director of the foundation. You understand what it means to struggle. You understand what it means to sacrifice for your children. You're the perfect person to help others the way your mother helped me. Aduni couldn't speak. She just nodded and smiled, her heart so full of happiness she thought it might burst. As they walked back to the car, Aduni looked up at the darkening sky where the first stars were beginning to appear. Mama, she whispered, you're still taking care of us, aren't you? Even from heaven, you're still our guardian angel. A gentle, warm breeze blew through the trees, and for a moment, both Aduni and Mr. William felt a peaceful presence around them, like loving arms holding them close. That night, for the first time in 30 years, Mr. William slept peacefully. No nightmares, no dreams of fire and smoke and fear. Instead, he dreamed of Grace Okoro smiling, standing in a beautiful place full of light, watching over her daughter and grandchildren with love that never ends. And in her new home, Aduni tucked her two daughters into their soft, clean beds and told them a story about their grandmother. "Your grandmother was a hero," she said softly, brushing their hair with her gentle hands. "She saved a little boy's life 30 years ago, and now that little boy has grown up and is taking care of us." The younger daughter looked up with big, curious eyes. "Mama, is Grandma watching us from heaven?" Aduni smiled and kissed her forehead. "Yes, my love. She's always watching. She's always protecting us, and she's very, very proud of how far we've come." The older daughter asked, "Mama, will we ever meet the man Grandma saved?" Aduni smiled. "You already have, my darling. That's Mr. William, the kind man who gave us this beautiful house and sent you to the good school. He's the little boy your grandmother died saving." Both girls' eyes opened wide with wonder. As Aduni turned off the lights, she whispered, "Thank you, Mama. Thank you for everything. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you for leading him to us." The next morning, something amazing began to happen. The story started to spread like wildfire through the city. Workers at the restaurant talked about it with tears in their eyes. Customers heard about it and shared it with their families. Soon, newspapers and radio stations wanted to write about the incredible connection between Mr. William and Aduni. But more than just the story spreading, it was the love that began to multiply. The Grace Okoro Foundation was officially launched within 1 month. They rented a beautiful office building and hired people to help families in need. Hundreds of struggling families received help. Single mothers got jobs. Children received scholarships to good schools. Families moved from broken houses to clean, safe homes. And at the center of it all was a simple, powerful truth. Love never dies. Good deeds create ripples that spread across generations. Sometimes, when we help others, we discover that we're actually honoring someone who helped us long ago. Aduni kept the old newspaper clipping framed on her desk in the foundation office. Every morning when she arrived at work, she looked at her mother's picture and whispered, "Thank you for leading him to us, Mama. Thank you for showing us that love is stronger than death." And every evening, Mr. William visited the cemetery to talk to Grace Okoro, the woman who saved his life and made everything possible. "Grace," he would say, sitting beside her grave, "I promise you that your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Every family we help, every child we send to school, every mother we lift out of poverty, it's all because of you." Their story became more than just a tale of kindness. It became proof that love transcends death, that good deeds echo through time, and that sometimes the people we help today are connected to the angels who saved us yesterday. The Grace Okoro Foundation grew and grew. Within a year, they had helped over 1,000 families. Within 2 years, they had built 3 schools and a medical clinic. Within 3 years, the foundation was known throughout Nigeria as a place where miracles happened for struggling families. And it all started with one woman's love, one moment of sacrifice, and the belief that good deeds never die. They just wait for the right time to bloom into blessings for the next generation. Dear viewer, this story shows us something incredible. Nothing in life happens by accident. The kindness we show today might be repaying a debt we didn't even know we owed. The person we help might be connected to someone who helped us long ago, in ways we never imagined. Grace Okoro didn't just save a child from fire 30 years ago, she saved him so that one day, when her own daughter was in desperate need, he would be there to save her family. Her love created a perfect circle that took 30 years to complete. The lesson is powerful and beautiful. When we sacrifice for others, especially for children, that love never dies. It travels through time like a seed carried by the wind and finds a way to bless our families, even when we're no longer here to see it happen. Grace's love didn't end when she died. It lived on, growing stronger every day, until the perfect moment when it could bloom into a blessing for her daughter and grandchildren. What did you learn from this incredible story? How has someone's sacrifice blessed your life in ways you never expected? Have you ever discovered that a stranger's kindness was connected to something deeper? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear your own stories of unexpected connections and generational blessings. And if this story touched your heart and restored your faith in the power of love, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. There are many more incredible stories coming that will show you the beautiful, mysterious ways that love connects us all across time and space. Thank you for watching, and remember, love never dies. Good deeds always find their way home, and sometimes the greatest blessings in our lives come from angels we never knew were watching over us.